So it's finally time for the long-awaited review of Robocop. I've been put in quite a few times into this game because, like I've said before, I was pretty hyped for it. I was anticipating it. Probably my most anticipated game of the year. So yeah, I'm actually on my second playthrough right now. I started the second playthrough as soon as I finished the first one. But yeah, let's get into it. I'll start with talking about the performance, graphics and touch in general. The performance is not as good as I thought. Going forward into the game, there's actually quite a few points where the FPS drops significantly. If I keep the settings I showed in my other impression video. Now I have a mix of high and medium, and lower the resolution scale to 75 native. That seems enough to give me 60 FPS in most scenario. Not in all, because the FPS will still drop even with these settings. So yeah, I guess my config is not enough to run 1080p 60 FPS all the time. I guess you actually need the recommended specs for 1080p 60 FPS native. So I think the recommended specs are a 6800 XT and a 3080. 6800 XT for AMD and 3080 for Nvidia. I don't know, I'm just guessing because it seems like a pretty demanding game in this sense. I don't like to use upscaling, so I'm not gonna use FSR. Graphics wise, the environments are pretty good. Like the exteriors are very like, if you look at the screenshots for this game, they really look like actual photos in some cases. It's really incredible what they did. I'm assuming this is also because of the Unreal Engine 5. The lighting is also pretty good. There's a specific setting for the reflections, I think, the lumen reflections, which I have not activated because I probably wouldn't be able to run it at a decent frame rate. The models of the main characters are decent enough. With them the game strikes a good mix of between a cartoony and a realistic style. It's a nice compromise. The side NPCs can be a little bit of hit or miss. Some of them will have like the same face, so you'll get to see the same face pretty often. But that's not really a problem, in my opinion. But at least they are not as ugly as the NPCs in Starfield. A supposed AAA game with NPCs that are ugly as fuck. The animations in general in cutscenes are kind of meh, honestly. Cutscene wise, like, the animations seem like straight out of a fun game. I mean, I personally don't mind. This is not the type of game you play for the cutscenes, honestly. They are functional, they are okay. They do their job, and that's it. In gameplay, the animations are fine, like the enemies react to bullets properly. I think there's ragdoll too in this game, so when the enemies die, they kind of make weird poses sometimes, and it's actually kind of funny. Technical issues that I've seen personally are the textures that sometimes take quite a bit to load, and when you move between an area between areas in the same hub zone, sometimes there will be some stuttering, I guess because it's loading the next part of the map. Crashes wise, I haven't really had any crashes. I have played, I think, around 20 hours so far. Actually, no, I have had one crash, now that I think about it. It was one crash at the beginning, and then with all the drivers, that were previous to the game release, I think. And then I updated the drivers, and it has run perfect ever since. So 20 hours of gameplay, only one crash. Pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure if I was lucky or that's the standard, but yeah. Next section, I'll move on to talk about the gameplay. The game is a shooter at heart, with also an element of simulator, like you being Robocop, let's say. That's what the game aims to do. Like it wants to make you feel. It wants to make you feel like you're actually Robocop. It's kind of like a Robocop simulator in a sense. It tries to provide you with a believable experience of what you will go through as Robocop, and actually make you feel actually like Robocop through the way he moves, the way he shoots, his powers. The gameplay is divided between combat and exploration mostly. You're presented with relatively big but confined hub areas. You must explore to find items, quests, and proceed with the story. It's very similar to what you will see in a Deus Ex game. Shooting is fun and feels good with both your main weapon and the secondaries that you pick up from the ground, from dead enemies. So yeah, you can carry only 2 weapons max at any time. One being your Auto 9 standard weapon, and the other are the enemy weapons you pick up. If tuned correctly though, your main gun can pretty much do anything. You can manage pretty much any situation if you customize your Auto 9 properly. I understand though why they included other guns for the sake of variety. I mean, the weapon variety is pretty decent. There's a number of assault rifles, pistols. There's a rocket launcher, grenade launcher, a couple of shotguns too. There's the Cobra cannon too, from the first movie. Yeah, so the weapon variety is decent. There's also a Desert Eagle, so it's definitely on the good side, at least for me. A couple of little nitpicks though, I have to say, is that when you go into aim mode, precision mode, with some weapons the game will have you aim through the iron sight of the weapon, and I would have preferred if it was just a zoom in, like in the case of other weapons. With some weapons, when you go into precision mode, it's just a zoom in of the current view. With others, it makes you go into iron sight. And I would have preferred if it was just a zoom in for all the weapons, or at least most of them, because It doesn't really make much sense for Robocop to aim through iron sight, because his helmet, his visor does the aiming for him. So he should just zoom in. But I understand why they did it, to make the weapons feel different from one another. So it was easier to have some weapons going to iron sight to make them feel even more different than they actually are. And I guess also because they wanted to give people who play COD a reason to buy their game. I don't know, I'm just joking, but yeah. And the other one is the scoped weapons. Like the weapons were a scope. There is a few weapons who have a scope, and the scope actually reduces your FOV quite a bit. I'm actually not a fan of scoped weapons in this game. The snipers are okay. It's mostly the assault rifles with the scope that I don't like how they handle, because they have too much of a recoil. And yeah, their scope feels a little bit too small. Would have been nice if they gave you the chance to customize the secondary weapons too, so that you would have been able to remove like the scope for the assault rifles to use them when you use them in precision mode. Because when you use the scoped weapons in precision mode, you can only shoot them through the scope. So yeah, would have been nice to be given the option. When you go in precision mode with the left trigger, there's also some sort of auto aim that will sometimes take over and nudge your reticle towards an enemy. As far as I know, it's not possible to disable it at the moment. So maybe in a future update they'll give you that possibility, I don't know. Powering up your Auto 9 works similarly to Terminator Resistance, where you could, like, Terminator Resistance, you could power up the plasma weapons. But now there is a sort of a mini-game in place, still similar to Terminator Resistance, but a little bit more complex now, where there's actually a bunch of circuits that you have to power up with the chips you find throughout the game. And by using these chips you can unlock different skills from your gun, depending on what PCB you have. There's different PCBs you can install on your Auto 9, and like I said, the power-ups your weapon ends up getting are the ones that are on that PCB. So each PCB is structured in a different way with different circuits. So you'll have to be careful to activate most circuits without incurring into maluses. It's a nice little puzzle game that it's a nice change of pace, like in between a long session. You go into the menu and then you power up your gun with a little mini game. It's fun. Nothing special, but I think it's fun. It's a nice distraction. The power-ups you can get on your gun vary. They can just be like normal stats increase, like more damage, more bullets in your magazine, faster reload time. But also you can get more structural ones that modify the behavior of your gun consistently, more significantly. Like for example, there's a power up for making your gun go full auto. Another one lets you have infinite bullets in your magazine, which yeah, full auto plus infinite bullets is pretty busted. It's fucking incredible, but it's also fun. And yeah, there's also other bullets, other power-ups like Doom bullets. What else? Oh, massive damage that increases your damage significantly, but removes the critical damage. Then oh, there's also, yeah, one of my favorite one is also the one that increases the gore, the level of gore, which is super fun. The gore is already pretty like graphic here, but with that power up becomes even more over the top. It's kind of like in the movies. Talking about the gore, you can shoot arms, legs, and heads off. And explosions can dismember enemies completely. So it won't be rare to see enemies laying on the ground without arms or legs. Sadly though, after you have killed an enemy, you can't deal any more damage to them. I don't know why. I guess they just programmed the enemy behavior in this way. So you can the enemies will like react to your bullets when they're on the ground, but they will not get damaged anymore. You can only damage them when they are alive and standing, it seems. There's also environmental destruction, and it's pretty decent, especially considering the overall graphics of the game. The destruction is not the best I've seen, but it's definitely like good enough. Because to me it elevates the experience overall of the game when the environment is interactable. Makes the game feel more alive. Brings me back to that time period where physics and interactability with the game's environment was an important thing. Back like 10 or 15 years ago when games like Crysis came out. Also back then in the PS2 era when Metal Gear Solid 2, I remember the demo came out, people were playing even just to have fun with the physics and the environment. It is something that has been missing from games for a long time at this point, or at least it has not been the focus. Enemy variety is pretty decent too, except for the boss enemies. There are only two big boss enemies that already have been seen in the movies, so nothing really new and unseen when it comes to the Robocop franchise. But at least, like I said, the enemy variety too, there's different type of enemies, going from the simple punks to the soldiers, punks, bikers, snipers, suicide bombers too, but they are only in one level from what I remember. And yeah, on that side the game is pretty good. Character abilities, you can unlock abilities, skills, with the points you get by completing quests and other stuff. You get XP for pretty much anything in this game. Killing enemies, solving quests, scanning objects, and so on. And yeah, the abilities you can unlock with these points you get through XP are pretty extensive. They go from like bullet time, a dash to get out of the way, extra armor, a stun attack, yeah, stuff like that. It's a pretty nice set of abilities that will allow you to customize your character depending on your playstyle. It's up to you. It gives you like your personal Robocop experience, which is definitely I'm all up for customization, giving the player choice. And yeah, I think I've mentioned most of the things I wanted to talk about. When it comes to the gameplay, so I will move on to the quests, writing, and the story. So there will be some mild spoilers in this section. I think I'll put the timestamps in the description, so don't worry about spoilers if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay, then let's proceed. Alright, now for the quests, writing, and story. You go around the world completing quests, and said quests can be of different types. Usually, though, they involve someone asking for help, and then a gunfight at the end. Others will require you to use your detective skills and scan clues, or simply go from A to B to speak to people. Scanning has an important part in the solving process of quests. In a lot of them I've seen, because it allows you to collect clues, find objects, and it also gives you XP, so it's useful for leveling up. I personally find it hilarious, though, that the secondary quests are more interesting and well written here compared to a supposed AAA game like Starfield. It's kind of like funny if you think about it. This game was made with probably 1/10 of the budget that Starfield was given, and as a whole it ends up being better. The writing in general is something that you could actually expect to see in the movies as well, but also has a decent sense of humor to it. You'll find gags, a bunch of gags, comedic situations, jokes that strike a chord similar to what you've seen in the movies. I found myself laughing a few times, and it's not something I usually do when I play a modern game lately. So it's definitely has to count for something.
You leave. Bitches, come!
Bitches, come! The story itself takes place between Robocop 2 and 3. So you will see some plot points that were started previously in the movies in this one, such as the construction of Delta City, cops striking, OCP being in financial trouble, and so on. The narrative itself throws some nods to the movies, maybe even a bit too often. In fact, you will see in the game like story cliches that were already seen in previous Robocop movies. The most notable one is that how Robocop can't act against the main bad guy because he starts getting seizures for whatever reason. There's a reason for here as well, of course. But yeah, it kind of feels like a deja vu of the first movie in that sense. So yeah, it would have been nice if they also went with someone a little bit different, but I understand the fan service and everything. Some cliches are hard to die, I guess. Although, as a whole, the story is not worse than what you've seen in Robocop 2 or 3, in my opinion. It's on that level. You can tell, though, it was written by someone who enjoys the source material. With all the fan service they've put in this game, and little things, like for example, how they used one of the failed designs for one of the Robocop 2 prototypes for one of the new enemies in the game, Becker's UADs. And in fact, at some point I thought they were actually going to use the brains for that way we're harvesting in those UEDs. But then Becker comes out and says they are fully automated, so that didn't happen. Would have been fun though if they actually also used the other Robocop 2 prototype, the failed one that kills himself, as a boss maybe. Would have been like an interesting. Another interesting bit of fan service. All the fan service and nods to movies also comes at the expense of originality, though, a little bit probably. There's no new enemy cyborgs or bosses. The only two like big guy bosses you will fight in the game are Ed 209. And they'll reuse also Robocane's body, Robocane's like cyborg body, which is the final boss. So spoilers, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the final boss, and inside the Robocane's body, there's gonna be the old man, the OCP's CEO, for some reason. Apparently, he's supposed to be still alive in Robocop 3, and just be overseas for a business trip. So the ending to this game contradicts actively Robocop 3. That's something. I mean, I don't think anybody cares. Robocop 3 is a joke of a movie, so. But yeah. So the thing is that doesn't make sense for the old man to be put inside Robocane's cyber body. So I'm not sure why they did that. With him being the CEO, you will expect him to want to be put inside a proper body, like maybe something similar to Robocop. So I don't know if it's because the guy in charge for Robocop 1, the project Robocop, original Robocop, died, so they can't replicate it. I don't know. But like I said, it doesn't make much sense for the old man to become Robocane. The whole afterlife plot point is kind of... I'm not sure if what they were trying to do with that one. They clearly wanted to develop bodies that looked normal, like a normal human body, but they didn't have the technology to do so. So I'm not sure what they were trying to do. Like, were they trying to scam people? Or was the old man so far gone that he thought he could actually like save himself and continue his life in a normal looking body? I don't know. But then he opts for that monstrosity at the end. And also, yeah, the plot point about harvesting brains doesn't really go anywhere, get sidetracked. I assume some of the brains were used to experiment on Project Afterlife, but as a whole, that plot point doesn't really go anywhere aside from that. It feels like the game got some cuts here and there in terms of story, because some things that really don't make much sense, like I've said. There are some inconsistencies. But they're not too big. In the end, it's just the plot of a game, so you'll survive if there are some inconsistencies. What else? But yeah, as a whole, like I said, the writing is good, and also I like how they have written most of the female cast. They are, I will say, they are all good characters, namely Lewis, Samantha, and Olivia. Lewis, your partner, Samantha, the journalist, which kind of gives me like April O'Neil vibes, just a little bit more of a tomboy. And Olivia, which is the psychologist or psychiatrist, I don't remember what she is, but yeah, she's the doctor that does your evaluations in the game. And yeah, they're all well written characters. They feel like proper humans, and not a caricature of a boss girl. The type of archetype seems to be pretty in vogue with modern AAA games for some reason. They still haven't realized that nobody likes boss girls. Unless you're a cuck, I guess. I don't know. I sure don't like them. As far as I can tell, though, there's no woke politics. Actually, there's no politics at all. It's just a story that you will expect to see in something that's related to Robocop, that any media related to Robocop. So no trying to lecture you or other stupid shit like that. It's just made for entertainment. And that's something positive, because when I buy a game, I want to play a game, I don't want to be lectured. I want to have fun. I want the story, like, to take itself seriously, but not to the extreme. And in fact, the story, there's a lot of gags and jokes. The humor is good, it's fun. You'll find yourself laughing at least a couple of times, because there's some good gags in the game. Yeah, I think I've said everything I wanted to say about this part, about the writing, so I'll continue on the next part with the conclusions, considerations, and the extras I haven't covered so far. So now for the last part of the video, of the review. All I can say, the game is perfectly paced. Nothing ever overstays its welcome, even the game itself, funnily enough. My first playthrough was around 18-19 hours, trying to explore everything and doing all the side quests, so I took things slow because I wanted to enjoy the game, I didn't want to rush. Took things nice and slow, and had plenty of fun. The soundtrack does a good job at immersing you in the world, and it's something straight out of the movies. I think some tracks are actually like from the original score, and others are original tracks that were made for this game specifically. Overall, the soundtrack is decent. It's not something you listen probably outside of the game, but it's good at creating atmosphere. it does its job. The dub is decent overall. Some of the dubbers of the cast is coming back, is returning from Terminator Resistance. And useless to say that Peter Weller steals the show once again as Robocop. He really does a good job. He is hands down the best performer in the game. Like he is Robocop at this point. He is the character. But the other characters are voiced fine too, for the most part. I think the only thing that's a bit jarring is that some voices sound a bit too cartoony, namely the punk guys, because they always use the same guy to voice the punks, and that guy is on a cartoony over-the-top voice. So you'll know what I mean, because he does most of the voice for the punks. They should have, in my opinion, they should have hired a couple more voices to voice the punks, the common enemy punks, because, like I said, it's kind of a bit jarring to hear the same voice on the same character, on the same enemy type, more than a couple times. The difficulty overall is well balanced, I think. It's never too frustrating. I suggest people who want a bit of a challenge to play on hard on their first playthrough, and possibly extreme for the second. But if you have to choose, if you wanna play the game just one time, I suggest you play it on extreme, because when you start powering up, the game actually becomes quite easy. Plus, they give you a lot of healing items going forward, so there's really no reason not to play it on the highest difficulty. Another thing to mention is that the game only autosaves your progress. You can't save manually for some reason. Not sure why they decided to go with this, but yeah, be mindful that there will only be autosaves. You can go back and load previous saves, but it's definitely not as convenient as being able to save yourself when you want. In terms of bugs, I haven't encountered many at all. Only a few, and they weren't game breaking. For example, one of the ones I've encountered was in the courthouse mission. The mission tracker was in the wrong place. There was an object you were supposed to pick up, but then the object marker was on the wrong place, so I had to explore a little bit to find the proper place. But that has been fixed, from what I've seen in the second playthrough. So yeah, that's been fixed. There's another couple ones that haven't been fixed in the second playthrough. The most important one is in the prison mission. Like, there's an NPC that's part of an event. The game is supposed to give you a choice in that point, but for some reason it doesn't give you the choice, and the game makes the choice for you. And it's kind of annoying because that choice impacts the ranking at the end of the mission. So yeah, hopefully they fix it soon. What else? Crashes, I haven't had any. Actually, no, wait. At this point, I'm on more than 20 hours of gameplay, probably closing in on 24, 25. I've only had one crash when I was sporting older drivers, so previous drivers to the release of the game. So now that I have the new ones and 25 hours of gameplay, I still no crashes, and only that single crash, which is usually I always get at least 2-3 crashes overall, at least boot back to the desktop. But no, this one has been like perfect in that sense. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting this, honestly. I think I've mentioned most of the stuff. Actually, no. There's a couple more mechanics I want to talk about. There's multiple endings in this game, like in Terminator Resistance. The main thing that will influence the story ending is how you act towards people, because there's two main points to follow, like either uphold the law or serve the public trust. If you go toward choices that push in the direction of upholding the law, it will result in Robocop losing, more than losing, like acting more like a colder machine, and like serving the public trust instead will have an impact more on Robocop's human side. So I think if you make choices that favor the serving the public trust aspect, you'll get the chance to try to save the old man after you've beaten him, and that's supposed to be, I think, the good ending. And that's one thing, one mechanic. Then there's the classic slideshow at the end, like there was in Terminator Salvation, that narrates what happens to your supporting cast. And that depends how you treat them during the course of the game. That will affect the ending of the supporting cast. Other things, I think I mentioned the environmental destruction in the beginning, but yeah, it's present, and it's pretty impressive. Actually, though, I wanna say this game is like if Black on Xbox and PlayStation 2 had a child with the Soldier of Fortune. It reminds me of those kinds of single-player FPSs that were fun to play, that sadly are not a thing anymore for some reason. They're like, I think COD kind of ruined the single-player segment in the FPS genre. But yeah, I think it's what I'll also write in my thumbnail. This game is like the child between Black and Soldier of Fortune. It's a very fun single-player FPS. And also punching people, because there's melee too. Punching people is fun as fuck. So yeah, keep punch people too. Don't just shoot them, punch them as well. Yeah, I think I've said everything I wanted to say. All things considered, they've definitely done a good job, also taking into consideration all the limitations that come with the character, like the slow walking speed, if compared to other FPSs, and Robocop being hard to damage, Robocop being a cop, so him not being able to shoot people at random and so on. They crafted a very fun experience for fans, not non-fans alike. For most people though, non-fans probably, I suggest buying it on sale, especially if you're on console, because on console it's more pricey. It's a $60 game. On PC, given the lower price, many more people may be enticed to give it a try sooner, even if non-fans. I suggest you play it on PC if you can, because it's cheaper, and if you have the specs, it runs better than on console. $30 is a decent price, but this game will probably go on sale for sooner or later. So maybe if you want to wait for a sale. This game definitely teaches how modern games should be made, in my opinion. No stupid politics shoved down your throat, no lecturing, no boring quests that serve no purpose other than pad the game and bore you to death. So I definitely have to give them props, because they really surprised me in a positive way. So I'll definitely be following their next projects, especially if there will probably be some kind of DLC for this game, like they did with Terminator. So I'll definitely be buying that one. And yeah, I'll be following their next project for sure. If I had to give like a rating, I will give it 7.5 out of 10, because it's a good game, it's a fun game, but of course it's not perfect. So but yeah, this was Robocop Rogue City. I think I've said everything. As for the rest, for the channel related stuff, I think the next review will probably be Starfield, because I was supposed to make it before this one, but then I got sidetracked, and then this came out and I wanted to play this one. So when I have the time, I'll make Starfield review, and then maybe I'll probably continue to make long plays like I did with the Resident Evil 2. I'm not sure if I should open another channel though. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll redo some of my original playthroughs in one go, like Dead Space. We'll see. But yeah, for now this is it. Maybe let me know what you think about the game, if you want. And hope you have fun, enjoy the game, enjoy Robocop. Go tell the devs you like the game if you played it, and so on. But yeah, and also since this takes quite a bit of time to do, if you would be so kind to like it and subscribe to, will really help. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.